Hey guys, today in this video we're going to go over my Lightning Spear build for Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred. We're going to go over the pit setup that I used to go to pit 100, and we're also going to go over a starter version I started playing on before I had all of the mythic uniques, also a version that I use for open world, and that kind of stuff. So this build is pretty nice in that you can have your pit pushing setup and then swap over to doing caches or hordes or whatever with just a few gear swaps. Basically just I swap my helm and my gloves pretty much, and then I'm good to go. So the build is basically using unstable currents to generate our lightning spears. So when we have unstable currents active, we cast a shock skill, and our lightning spears will basically pop out. Okay, so I'm using charge bolts at the moment, and there is a lot of different skills. Like, you can literally use any shock skill. You can use ball lightning, charge bolts, you can do chain lightning. Some people do arc lash or spark. But for this build, I think you can choose between chain lightning, charge bolts, or ball lightning. We don't want to use any of the basic skills because we're going to use Starless. So we do need to actually spend mana. Okay, so why charge bolts? And basically it just felt better for me, right? I think ball lightning also has like a very high mana cost, so the startup feels very weird. There is also some other kind of weird enemies that are going to kind of make ball lightning feel very annoying in the pit, or not just the pit, but anywhere basically, right? But it's like the wallers and the suppressors. They kind of basically just delete your lightning spear projectiles, and when that happens, you drop conjuration stacks, and then you drop your mana regen, and then ball lightning is just kind of like using too much mana. So it just felt very, very weird to play with ball lightning. I didn't like it at all. And then also charge bolts does have like extra AoE. I don't know if this is like even that impactful, but it is something to note. Right, so charge bolts can get up to 3 attacks per second. We'll go over the breakpoints and that kind of stuff later on in the video. Chain lightning, I'm not really sure, but it's a lot less than charge bolts. And then ball lightning get up to 4 attacks per second. So ball lightning has the highest attack rate, which is probably why everyone's just using it. But for some reason, I don't know, I like charge bolts better. So basically, yeah, the lucky hit chance is a lot higher. And then basically you can shotgun mobs with this, right? So you can pretty much always get these lucky hits for Orange Herald, whereas with ball lightning, sometimes I noticed I didn't always get the Orange Herald procs, so I didn't really like it that much. And then also against bosses, you build up stagger really fast with charge bolts, so that's one reason I kind of liked charge bolts. Also, yeah, like I mentioned, the startup is a lot easier on charge bolts. Okay, but yeah, that might just be personal preference for me. And as for like the conjuration stacks on average, they were pretty much the same with ball lightning and charge bolts anyways. Like with maybe you get one extra stack every now and then with ball lightning, so I don't really think it makes that big of a difference. Alright, so let's do some pits. I can do pit 90 in like 4 to 5 minutes, but for this video I think we'll do T85 just so it's a little bit quicker. Alright, so for this build, basically the way you want to play it is you need to like group the monsters up pretty much to kind of like blow them up with the splintering procs, but I think even maybe we don't even need to, because at this level of pit, you know, I think we're pretty much going to be one-shotting all the monsters pretty much. Well, if they don't have like damage resistance and that kind of stuff, right? And there is like some kind of bug maybe with the like damage resistance. I've gotten crits like up to 90 billion almost on this build, and every single time it's when we have these damage resistance mobs and then they die. Right after they die, for some reason, my crits are doing way more damage. It's kind of hard to see inside these, with these mobs that don't have a lot of HP, but in like pit 100, it happens like very often. Usually I'm critting for like 10 billion to about 30 billion, and then when there's those like damage resistance mobs, for some reason I'm critting like, I don't know, 30 billion, 40 billion, 50, and then like sometimes even up to 80. Maybe it'll happen here. I guess not really. Yeah, on these like low level zones, it's very hard to get big crits because the monsters aren't alive for long enough. Alright, let's get a big group here. And this is like one little problem with the build is like single target. You see there's this one guy left alive. It's very hard to actually kill him. Right, I guess we did kill him, but they do stay alive for quite a bit longer. But yeah, just level up pit very quick. This is probably not a good idea to go this way, but we already started going here, so I'll just keep going this way. Alright. So boss damage, a little bit slow, right? This is like the biggest problem for this build is your boss damage, and I guess at this level of pit it looks okay, I guess, but at higher pit levels you're pretty much not going to be able to kill the boss in time unless it's like a boss with ads or a boss that, you know, has a very low HP. Alright, so that's pit 80. I don't know, it was like what, 3-4 minutes? 3 minutes? Alright, so let's go over some of the breakpoints for the build. There's two main breakpoints you kind of want to keep in mind. First one's going to be, I guess, your cooldown reduction, and the second one's going to be your attack speed. So cooldown reduction, there's only really two places to get it. If you're playing the pit version, it's going to be your boots and your Talrasha, and basically you want to get around 50%. So your unstable currents should be around 30 seconds cooldown. So if you can get to 30-second cooldown, then you should be fine for unstable currents. For a pit at least, right? Because in pit, monsters who are alive, you can hit them with ice blades. Also, you're going to be getting a lot more Orange Herald procs. So that's going to be, you know, reducing the cooldown of your unstable currents. And, at, you know, 30 seconds is fine. But if you're doing content where you're killing things before, you know, really quickly, then you're not going to get the Ice Blade hits, you're not going to get the Orange Herald procs, so not going to feel that good. So in those kind of situations, I play with a Harlequin's Crest. Basically, it's to get more CDR. But for pit, like higher level pit where monsters aren't dying fast enough, then 30 seconds is totally fine for unstable currents. So in this setup, we're going to go over like the pit pushing setup pretty much. So after that, the attack speed, basically you want to get to 74.8 attack speed on your character sheet. That's with the flask. All right, I'm using the Elixir of Advantage for the attack speed. And basically, we need to get to 119.6 attacks per second. That's going to allow us to do 3 casts per second with charged bolts. So for other skills, it'll be a little bit different. But the one I'm using is charge bolts. So this is the breakpoint I'll go over now. You can see when we start attacking and we get our enlightenment up, we'll go up to 125 attacks per second, or attack speed. And that's going to allow us to hit for basically, you know, 3 times per second. Okay, so for the gear, I'm using the Air of Perdition in my pit pushing setup because it's just like really good for damage, and also does basically solve your crit. You only need about 95% crit in this build because Lightning Spear has an additional 5%. So this pretty much helps to cap your crit. Right, and for the Masterwork, yeah, just put everything into crit chance. That's pretty much all that you want on this helmet is a crit chance for Masterworking. For sure, the body armor I'm using is Shroud. A lot of people like to use Raymond, but I think Shroud is a lot better. I like the damage and the defense you get on Shroud. It just feels a lot better. So basically for Masterworking, the only really thing that matters is the all stats or the maximum life, like either one. Like getting more life wouldn't be, you know, all that bad either. But yeah, that's about it. Okay, so for the gloves, so first of all, you want to make sure you hit your attack speed cap. If you're going to be at your attack speed cap, then a pair of gloves like this with GA attack speed, GA crit damage. You temper on crit damage, and Masterwork detempered crit damage because it rolls higher. So this is like the ideal pair of gloves you're going to have. Now you can also get more attack speed on your Starless, right? So you see my Starless isn't a GA attack speed, so maybe you don't really need a GA attack speed here. So it's something you can kind of swap around. So make sure, just check your own character, make sure you're going to be getting that 74.8 attack speed, and then if you are, you can maybe put something else here, like maybe lucky hit chance or int or something like that, instead of attack speed if you're already at your cap. Okay, so for the pants, we do need a GA on the armor for the pants to hit our armor cap. And then after that, we do want to masterwork everything into intelligence if you can. And then try to get some like CC on the temper, like freeze or immobilize. I have some on my gloves, so I have slow on my gloves and freeze on my pants. And then we get a +2 to warmth, and it did hit the temper, last temper on warmth, so it's not the end of the world. But basically warmth is just going to be nice for sustain when your barrier is down. Okay, so for the boots, we're going to use Rakonos, and the main important thing here is the cooldown reduction. That's like the only thing that matters on these boots. After that, probably the non-fizz damage is going to be second best, like GA you can get, and then you want to masterwork everything into cooldown reduction. If you hit 2 cooldown reduction, 1 non-fizz, I would keep that. That's totally fine as well. Okay, weapon, you want a crit damage weapon, staff, and then you do want to get a temper for crit damage, and then you masterwork the temper, because the temper rolls higher for some reason than the actual GA. Kind of weird. But anyways, yeah, after that, for the other temper, there is, I like to do the lucky hit for damage. Like, this rolls like pretty high, right? It does kind of help with some bosses. I think it's like Varshan or one of these guys that summons these like totems that delete all your lightning spears, and then you have to go and manually attack them. But anyways, yeah, this is kind of a flex slot, right? You could do, there is another one that's kind of useful, maybe it's like the chance to summon additional Ice Blade, but I'm pretty much always on my Ice Blade cap without it, so I think it's kind of a waste. But maybe if you aren't always at your Ice Blade cap, maybe you could, but I think, I don't know, probably the best is to do one of the lucky hit damage, and definitely not shadow damage. You want to get like cold, lightning, or fire. Probably cold damage is going to be the best. Okay, so amulet. Why am I running a Fractured Winterglass? And, well, so I do have this amulet here with GA Conjuration Mastery. I just picked this up for about 15 billion gold. And the reason is pretty much that these are so rare that I think it's kind of not worth it to buy it, honestly. For like 15 billion is cheap, by the way, for these. They're like on average 25 billion for a bad one, and for a good one it's like 35 to 99 billion gold for one of these. So definitely not worth buying. And I pushed to hit 100 with the Fractured Winterglass, pretty much just because it has, you know, Conjuration Mastery. And I bought this like 100% perfect Fractured Winterglass for, I think it was like 6 billion gold. And that's like pretty insane, right? So basically, yeah, if you can get a ×2 masterwork on Conjuration Mastery, on a GA Conjuration Mastery, then you're good to go, right? That's like all you need. And I think that's going to be way cheaper than getting one of these, crafting it, and that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, that's why I have Winterglass in the build planner, and then that's why I'm using Winterglass, just because these are so extremely rare to find and expensive that it's very hard to recommend this for, you know, to most people. But if you do have one of these, you craft on, where is it? Devouring Blaze, and you masterwork the Conjuration Mastery, and then you get tons of damage. So this, I think on average is going to be like 20 to 30% more damage than a Winterglass. Like this one is like 100% perfect with like 3 masterworks on the Conjuration Mastery. So we'll have to see. I'll make it and then I'll test it out and see which one I like better. But in general, I think just stick to a Winterglass because it's just easier, right? And it's pretty much the same damage. Okay, so after that, ring Tall Rashas, because basically, yeah, it's just like best in slot ring for sorcerer, and you want to masterwork the cooldown recovery. And if you ever get in a situation where you hit ×2 cooldown recovery and then you hit a non-fizz roll after that, then I'd probably just keep that because that is like pretty good, I think, to keep non-fizz. Pretty insane for this build. All right, after that, Starless, we got, you pretty much just want to use this to cap your crit and your attack speed. So if you don't have enough crit, masterwork a little bit of crit. If you don't have enough attack speed, masterwork some attack speed. It's kind of what I did to kind of fix my attack speed cap. Okay, so that is the gear. Let's go over a couple of setups that I run for different content. So that's like one of the things I like about this build is I could be pushing the pit and then say I want to go do some bosses. Well, for bosses, I just put on this like random pair of Fist of Fate that I have and we're good to go. The reason why I use Fist of Fate is because you perma stagger the boss, and once the boss is staggered, you just do tons and tons of damage to them because of a lot of things that Sorc has for like more damage to frozen or stunned or whatever, right? So that's kind of nice. And then since we're staggering the boss pretty much like right away, the boss just can't do any of its mechanics and just basically one-shot the boss. So that's kind of nice. For bossing, I just put these gloves on, and then for when I'm doing open world content, I'm putting on a Harlequin's crest, and I do have to swap my gloves around to kind of fix my crit situation. So basically like this, and you notice my attack speed is a little bit low. Not really there at 125, I think. Let's just see. Oh yeah, we actually are, you know. Oh no, I am. That's like with the mercenary buff. So I'm a little bit below the attack speed breakpoint. I do need to get a little bit more attack speed on the gloves. Not really sure how we're gonna end up doing this. Probably have to get a like GA attack speed on the ring, but it's okay. Like for me, it's working out. Basically, the way you do this is you set up your runes so that in your helmet you have the vortex, because you only really need this for pit pushing, and then in your Harlequin's crest you have the crit chance, because you can see our crit chance is 68%, and then with the rune here it's going to give us another 25% crit chance, so we'll be at 95% crit pretty much, or like 90ish. So that's going to be enough crit for the build to work, and that's pretty much all I have to do is swap these two pieces around and you're good to go. Oh, and yeah, for open world, I'm putting teleport in because, like, what you can do is, you can teleport 2 times, right? So it makes mobility feel a lot better. And with this build, you can see you can attack once, teleport, attack once, teleport, attack once, teleport, attack once, teleport. Sometimes you can do the double teleport when this normal teleport's on cooldown, but it is like pretty fast. It's not like instant teleports. I think if you did get more cooldown reduction, then you can actually just completely have permanent teleports. Like on this amulet over here, if I got the evade cooldown, then it would be even a lot faster. But as for now, like for me, this is like good enough, right? Alright, for the mercenary, so right now I'm really liking Subo because of the map hack. It makes things really easy in the pit because you can see where all the monsters are and then like find a big group and then group them up. So I like to use that, use him for that. He also does give you a little bit of damage from the opening fire node down here, so you get 25% increased critical strike damage, which is really big for Lightning Spear. After that, your second guy doesn't really matter, but I've chosen Variana for the attack speed. So this does make things a little bit more consistent in reaching your, 120 or, attacks per second, because when Enlightenment is down, sometimes Variana will give you Bloodthirst, which will give you a little bit more attack speed. And then that'll help you, when Enlightenment is down sometimes. So it makes things a little bit smoother, but I think you can change this for whatever you want, but there really isn't that many other useful ones. If you're low on armor or resists, go for the other guy, the shield guy, because he's going to help you out with resist or armor and that kind of stuff. All right, so let's go over the skill tree. So a couple of things to note is like you don't really have to do everything the same way I'm doing it. There's a lot of things you can change. So first of all, the charged bolts, I'm actually like putting points in here because it does increase the damage and the AoE is like a decent amount of damage. You can see almost 130,000 damage on the explosion. I'm not really sure how impactful this is. And also, I'm doing the greater charge bolts instead of the destructive. Most people run destructive, so you get some damage reduction, but I couldn't really even tell the difference in terms of like the amount of damage I was taking, and I didn't feel like I needed it, so I went back to greater. But for the most part, you probably do want to run destructive, I think. Because I'm not really sure if these things are even doing that much damage. When your lightning spears are down on like tormented bosses, you can kind of tell the difference, but other than that, these things aren't really doing that much. So you could actually just like take all these points out, and then you can put all the points in like teleport. You can get some more damage reduction down here like this, right? So that's kind of like up to you what you want to do with the points. Okay, so after that, for the defensives, we're taking pretty much all of them. I have 2 points in Flame Shield, and the reason is, well, I took out a point of my Lightning Spear stun, because in higher tiers of Pit, having Lightning Spear stun everything was actually really bad, because then the monsters get stunned and they don't start walking towards you. So it made it hard to group the monsters up, so I just took out the stun, pretty much. That's why I have 2 points in Flame Shield. So this, and then Teleport, we go to Shimmering Teleport. And then after that we have 5 points in Ice Armor, and then we go for Mystical. So we're having a lot of points in Ice Armor because we want to make sure it's always up. After that, for the passives here, yeah, we get Glass Cannon passives. We don't have to put any kind of passives in here because of Shroud. Before you would have to like put 1 point in here and that kind of stuff. But we don't have to do that anymore because you use Shroud. This is why Shroud is amazing, right? Okay, so in the Conjurations, we get the usual Ice Blade and then Lightning Spear, like we mentioned before. We're not taking the stun anymore. And then Protection. This is pretty nice, like pretty standard stuff here. And these two over here. This is why Fractured Winterglass is amazing. Let's see, 14 points in Conjuration Mastery. That's pretty insane, right? Okay, after that we have Familiar over here, and we get the Familiar Burn Tech. If you don't really know what this is, the Unstable Currents is going to summon Familiars that are going to be fire familiars, basically, right? And they're going to be applying Burn. So that's where we get our Burning, so we don't have to run the Burn enchant. After that, 3 points into Icy Veil, and then we go max out Devouring Blaze, usual, and then we also max out Hoarfrost. And then we get all these little passives here, and then 5 points into Unstable Currents, and then Prime Unstable Currents, and then lastly, the Enlightenment passive. I'm not putting any points into Warmth, because you can see I already have 5 points in Warmth, and that's coming from Shroud and also from my Body Armor. So if you don't have it on the Body Armor, then it is sort of worth it maybe to just put points into, like two points into Warmth. 2 or 3 points is usually good enough. Okay, as for the skills, enchantments, we're going for Teleport Enchantment and Ice Blades, and then for our active skills we have Flame Shield, Ice Armor, Ice Blades, Unstable Currents, Lightning Spear, and then Charge Bolts. Like we went over before, you can replace Charge Bolts with any kind of skill, like if today I want to play Chain Lightning, put Chain Lightning in, and then just play like that. Tomorrow I want to play Ball Lightning, we'll put Ball Lightning in, and then just play Ball Lightning, right? So it's just like plug and play, put whatever skill you want in, and the build just works. Okay, let's go over the Paragon. So for the Paragon, we're going for the Burning Instinct as your first board. Second board is going to be Enchantment Master. Third board is going to be Frigid Fate. Fourth board is Fundamental Release. For the glyphs, in the first starter area, we're going to go for Destruction, and then after that, we go Tactician, and then Elementalist, Unleash, and then this last one is sort of up to you. You can do whatever you want here. I'm going for the Conjurer Glyph because it increases the duration of all my conjurations by 20%. And now this might seem kind of like bad because you could do something like Flame Feeder for like more damage and that kind of stuff, but this really did help my make my conjuration stacks feel a bit more consistent. Also, it's kind of interesting is that it seems to make Lightning Spear hit 1 to 2 more times. All right, so if we take the glyph out and just take a look over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow, that one hit 9 times, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, that one hit for 9 times as well. Okay, that's a little bit weird, but on average, I was like noticing that I hit more, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, see, without the glyph, it's like 7 hits. And that same situation would have been 9 hits with the glyph. So definitely increasing the amount of hits that you get, also the duration, right? So that makes the build feel better to play. Like, 'cause if you're playing open world, you clear a pack of monsters, you clear another pack of monsters, you have to move around to the next pack, and then, well, too bad your lightning spears are just kind of gone. But if you're using Conjurer, the lightning spears are alive for longer, so, you know, makes it feel better. Also, you get more Conjuration Mastery stacks, so that does actually increase your damage, especially with the Winterglass setup that I'm running, because, you know, we get so many ranks to Conjuration Mastery. Right, so that's why I am taking the Conjurer. I don't really think the extra damage on the Conjurations is going to actually do anything, right? But I am still taking Intelligence nodes here, because why not? I have really nothing else to take on my Paragon board. Alright, so how do you progress the Paragon board? Pretty much your priority should just be activating the glyph and then moving on to the next board. Activate your glyph, move to the next board. Try to pick up rare nodes if you can, and if you're like they're close by, like this one, as we're pathing out to the top board here, it's just like 2 extra points to get this, right? So just go and grab that. And then go to the next board, get your glyph, activate your glyph, you know, read the glyph, see what you need to activate your glyph. So activate the glyph, move out, get the legendary node, go to the next board, get the glyph, activate the glyph, get the legendary node, and then, you know, same after that. Once you've gotten all of your boards, then after that, start getting all of your rare nodes in like priority of like what does your character need. If you need more armor, you get the armor ones. You need more resistance, you get the resistance one, right? And if you don't need those, then you just pick up all the damage ones. After you've gotten all of that, then go pick up the rare, the magic nodes, get all the magic nodes. And then after that, I think, yeah, you can kind of pretty much figure it out on your own after that. And then eventually you get to the point where, like I'm at, it was like, well, I've got nothing else that I really need. So then you're probably just going to get intelligence. Just like pick up a bunch of intelligence nodes, and then that's pretty much it, I think. Alright, so let's go over the starter version of the build, the version that I started playing with. And this one has no mythic uniques. You can probably push the pit like 80, 85 on this. And then we're going to be using the Godslayer and Raiment instead of the other 2 items that we're using. And also, instead of a Starless, you're going to be using just a rare rare ring. Right, and you basically make up for the damage you're going to lose by getting more aspects, like aspect of Shredding Blades. You get Storm Swell, and then so we get these 2 damage aspects instead. And Godslayer Raiment combo, really nice for actually like grouping monsters up. So it's going to be playing pretty nice in like the pits. This probably is going to work for like other content, but it might not be super good because you're going to be very squishy. Also, it's going to be hard to get a lot of CDR anyways, so might not feel all that great. But this is like what I use. I just played Pit pretty much to level up and then get my gear. I did kill a lot of bosses on this as well. I farmed all of the, you know, all of my legendaries pretty much, right? So, okay, so that is the starter setup pretty much. You can go check it out in the planner. And if you are playing any other kind of skill, you can go check out Gold Farming guide on attack speed. He's got all of the like breakpoints over here for all the different skills that you would need, right? So that's kind of something to keep in mind if you're playing a different skill. Okay, so that'll be it for this video, guys. A little bit long, but I did go into everything I wanted to talk about, I think. And if I do make any updates to the build, it'll be in the planner, so always check the planner for the latest version. Probably will be trying to craft this amulet, testing it out, and then seeing how, well, like what the actual difference is. Is it worth it? Maybe I'll make a video about it after I finished it, finish crafting it. But yeah, that'll be it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.